But before we get into the show itself, um, our guy, our guy TK, he apparently got booed as I believe it was Nick. Yes, Nick. Sorry, I had to move some shit. Nick referenced it as well, and I was definitely gonna bring it up, but once I saw Nick, I threw it in the chat. I was like, yeah, um, I think I can show the clip. It's like a fan video. I'll definitely. I found it via Reddit, but I'll definitely throw the link for the video in the notes. If I get in trouble for it, I'll just edit it out because again, I'm still learning all this shit on YouTube. But I definitely want to bring it in because it was something special. It was something special. So I'm gonna bring it in 1 second. All right. Let me know if you guys can hear the audio too, because that's obviously the main point. All right, I'm gonna play it here now. But yeah, shout out to this. Oh, I think, and again, I stuck with Reddit. Like I'm just now kind of fucking around with Reddit. But the OK Garcia 5605. I think that's the person who posted this. I don't know, but like I said, that's why I'm gonna link it because I'm gonna give credit where credit is due, right? But yeah. Oh, here we go. Let me know if you guys can hear it once I hit play. If not, I'll run it through a couple times because it's only 19 seconds to their clip here.
It is a dream come true to be here in this arena. Thank you all for being here tonight. This is going to be one of the best nights ever in AEW. And we appreciate you all being here tonight. Thank you.
Can you guys hear that? Could you guys hear the clip? Yo, it's I kind of feel bad for even like chuckling at it. But it's just I'm gonna play it one more time. If you guys can hear it. But let me know if you Nick can, or E or anyone if y'all are in there if you can hear it. If so, I'll play it again. But just so we can run it back. But it's just a drastic change, y'all. Like I've been to a good amount of AEW shows, which you guys have known, or if you're new here, just cause you don't want to assume knowledge, right? But I've been to my fair share of AEW shows, right? And sometimes I think it's almost even unfair to compare the current day shows or even within this past year show of like time frame shows to the early days, like 2019, 2020, 2021 time frame. Because it's like it's drastically different. And the reception at Tony Khan, like I have videos on my phone, like of him just like of people just like cheering and just like going crazy for Tony, right? And saying like thank you, Tony, and shit like that. So the fact that we are where we are, and again, like to be completely fair, also like these people had every right to specifically be booed, and I'm not going to sit here and act like he's getting booed everywhere they go because that's not true at all. And no, I would say probably still with like 90%, 95% of the people in the states, he's getting cheered. If he's even coming, like I don't know if he still goes out there before every show and kind of gives his little thank you speech or not. I know he used to, but I don't know if he still does. But I feel like if he was getting booed a lot, or if it was like a weekly thing or anything like that, or even if it was just a one off, people are gonna want to post that shit. And to be fair, like I didn't even search it because I didn't think about it until now. But if he's not getting booed consistently state to state, and even like if he in the UK, for instance, like if this was just like a one off, then okay. But regardless if he's getting flat out booed, he's definitely not getting as much love and reception as he used to. But again, that's to be expected though. But I can just say that from the last show that I was at, which was World's End. So yeah, it's just and it's the vibe too. And to me, like the people that were in my section, like kind of talking about everything, I said it on the review show that I did, but there was a guy, and I'm just a couple of people that he was with on the left of his, on the left side of him, and then a couple guys that they just are, just ended up sitting beside each other. But the two guys beside him had came together, and the dude that was kind of in the middle, he was the most knowledgeable one out of the whole group. So he was kind of like relaying and filling the other two guys in, especially the one dude. He was one of those fans that's like Attitude Era, hadn't watched it for years, and whatever, just tagged along with his friend. But enjoyed the show. Like he wasn't like a Debbie Downer or anything like that. Like he was actually a really good sport, and really enjoyed it too. But the dude was it was kind of funny hearing him trying to explain, especially like the whole Death Rider like storyline, and how like the beginning of everything, like him starting off, and he was like, oh yeah, like he was like, you remember Daniel Bryan? He's like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. He's like, oh yeah, well Moxley tried to suffocate him with the plastic bag, and like just continue talking like it was just like a normal thing. And dude was like, wait, what? And he was like, yeah, man. They showed him a video. So they were just talking about that, but the perception of TK, our friend Tony Khan, has gone down a bit, right? Because the dude was even saying like, yeah, like, and because he was saying, because one of the lesser knowledge guy, he was like, that's not even a phrase, but the guy who wasn't as knowledgeable, right, was kind of like trying to learn and get like caught up. He was like, oh, he was like, well, is it like still related to WWE, or is it like its own thing? And then the dude was like, no, it's a completely different entity. It's owned by this guy Tony Khan. And then that's how Tony Khan got brought up, and kind of went over the brief history. And the dude did a fantastic job. It was really interesting and just fun listening to him. But couple of things like he was 100% on, but whatevs, like, all right. It's just funny too to like listen to other people's perception and like their takes and like their opinions on things. That's why I like doing shit like this, because I love like chatting with you guys and hear what you guys have to think. um but yeah, like he was saying that, like, Tony Khan, it was like he described AEW as like a company for the people, right? Like he even used the phrase, it was like by the boys, like for the boys type of thing. Like he specifically used like that phrase, because I remember when he said that, I was like, oh wow, because that was the thing. Like I don't remember if it was Cody Rhodes who had mentioned it, but in an interview, like maybe with Wade Keller, or I even remember hearing it somewhere, but that phrase had been referenced before, and that was the whole idea, right, behind AEW, and just being like a family, and just like obviously being for the wrestlers, by the wrestlers type thing, but also like being for the fans too. And he said, like, he was just saying how like within this past year, like Tony has just kind of like lost direction, right, and not even to say anything directly negative about Tony Khan himself, but just like the overall booking direction of AEW just hasn't been hitting this year like it has been previously. And he's the Vince McMahon, and that's what the dude's saying. He's like, he's the Vince McMahon of it. So it's, like, if you have all those titles to your name, you live by the sword and you die by the sword type shit, right? But it was just really interesting, and now seeing this, and again, that's what I was kind of prefacing with all that shit. But to get back to the video at hand, right? Him getting booed in Australia, it makes is kind of like, I don't want to say an anomaly, but it kind of can't even be compared to the general like synopsis of him, his reception overall, because these people got fucked in a lot of ways, right? And just really took a L in a lot of financial aspects in that route, right? Like a lot of people had purchased hotels in like a certain area, so all that shit, right? Which again we've already hashed out. But that's why they would be upset with him, right? Whether that's fair to completely blame him or not, which everything seems to be that way. But again, you just go off of what's reported, right? And what's speculated, and just the shit that fans have reported themselves. And the dude that I talked about before, Mr. Monkey, I think his name was Mr. Monkey too, who had put out that Reddit article, just pretty much saying like how disgruntled he was with everything. He commented on that video again, and he said that they pretty much ended up enjoying the show and type shit. I don't want to misspeak his words because I don't have the exact phrasing up, but he said overall they really had a good time, which I was super happy to see. But he was upset that they actually apparently had ended up censoring some of their chants from the television, like the broadcast that we saw, which I thought was pretty interesting. But I asked him a couple questions too. So once I go back and I read his full response, I'll share it with the chat, right? I'll share it with the fam. But yeah, okay, cool. You said you could hear it, so I'll play it again one more time. I'll run it back.
It is a dream come true to be here in this arena. Thank you all for being here tonight. This is going to be one of the best nights ever in AEW. And we appreciate you all being here tonight. Thank you.
All right. And again, I'm not gonna sit here and try to just like take that and just throw it across his entire perception now, because these people had a completely different type of situation than the average AEW show and fan has, right? But yeah, it's but all that aside, it is pretty fucking telling, and it does suck. And I wonder what the brain of Tony Khan was thinking and the heart of Tony Khan was feeling, at that moment. Like, because again, to be fair, too, like I obviously, like, I don't know the dude, right? But the shows that I've been to and his interactions with the fans, and even when I was at one of the AEW or tapings that they used to do here at the Universal area, and after the show, I don't know about each show, but I think it went to three. And two out of the three, at the end of the show, he would go around and take pictures with the fans and everything. And he would give you maybe a minute of time, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it is a big deal, like he's fucking billionaire. Like, first of all, he doesn't need to go out there, period, right? But the fact that he did and he does, and he always, in the majority of the shows that I went to, he always addressed the fans. I think it's cool, and even in Chicago when well, I mean, that was a completely different situation because Punk was coming back. So that's another anomaly. But even when I'll say in Chicago, obviously I wasn't at this one, but when, for instance, when it wasn't, like a lot of people probably wouldn't put themselves out there when he suspended Punk back when all that shit happened, like Brawl Out, was that the yeah, that was the moniker for that. But when all that bullshit happened way back when, at the media scrum and all that, oh, man, what a time. But shit was crazy. He went out there to that Chicago fan base, and I forget the exact wordage that he said, but he went out there and addressed the fans, and he didn't need to do that. So props to him for doing that. There are a lot of interviews and media scrums, period, that he'll say, "Oh, I can't talk about that," or like, "I can't answer that," or whatever. But when I think maybe he could, but that's just my opinion. And again, it's easy for us to kind of judge from the outside because we don't know a lot of probably the majority of the shit that is um, included in a lot of the stories, or just of the events, right? And the shit that happens, right? Like, we only know a certain portion. But yeah, man, like, I will always have love for Tony Khan and appreciation for Tony Khan, but like, again, like, you can, when shit sucks, you gotta say when shit sucks, which we will definitely be talking about, because one match in particular, I just thought was like just, I'm not gonna say a shit ending, but I was like, really? Like, this is how the match is gonna end. So I'll get to that here in a second, but